Three, two, one, and welcome back, everybody, for another great show. Wow, two great shows back to back. What an amazing show we had with the first show with the lovely Leah Jorgensen from Jorgensen Cellars, and then we had Mr. Wes Saban from the plant-based vegan Som. And now we're going to have another guest out of three. This is an amazing time. We're on our third guest out of four. We're on guest number three of four. And today we have the lovely Cristina Gonzales from Gonzales Wine Company right here. I'm going to be drinking her Viognier. Viognier! I love it. I love it. Cristina Gonzales is a special lady, special winemaker. An ambassador in Oregon. So I'm so excited to be sharing the screen with her in a few moments. If you're joining us from the last two shows, thank you so much for coming back and joining us for show number three with ambassador number three. Don't forget, if you are joining us, you could also hit that airplane button. Go ahead and hit that airplane button. Invite a few of your friends, maybe the first 5 on your list. Invite them to join, have them grab their favorite poison, and enjoy a great show. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring my next guest on. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Let's see if it comes on. Let's see if it works. Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
How's your neck of the woods? How's the weather?
Well, not too far from you, so pretty good. It's quite a nice day outside. I was trying to do this outside, but the internet wasn't working that well outside, so unfortunately I had to
Oh no. Yeah, that's why I like.
ground.
I have my little patio that I'm attached to, my little veranda, and I'm able to come out here and enjoy. But I've been letting your wine set for a little bit.
Good.
Your Viognier, I'm so excited. You know, this is one of my favorite varietals is Viognier. I call it the ballerina of grape varietals. I love Viognier. When anybody gives me a glass of Viognier, it's hard. I don't resist. I don't resist.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm glad. Yes, as you know.
So how are things going? I know you've been so busy.
I have, yes, I have been very busy, but I actually just got back last night from a vacation to Mexico with some friends. So I got a little bit of a recharge and some nice sun, and just being back in Mexico. It was
Yeah.
so yeah. So
I can see you got a little color there. It looks like you got a little. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
we were down in Zihuatanejo, and yeah, it was hot.
Ooh, how hot was it?
About 86 degrees daily.
Ah,
Yeah,
very nice.
with
Very nice.
probably about at the last part of the trip about 70% humidity, if not more. So it was definitely it was a little toasty.
Oh yeah, I can bet. You take a shower and then you have to do another shower because of the humidity.
Those last couple of days just sweating exactly right out of the
Oh, uh,
but it was
so
by the coast, and to eat a lot of seafood again, and yeah, be with my girls. So we had a good time.
what's your favorite type of seafood?
Oh, pulpo. I love octopus, even though sometimes I'm a little bit conflicted because I'm fascinated by octopus. They also have because they have 8 tentacles, and 8 is my lucky number, and part of where my logo comes from, the magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do love a warm octopus and potato salad with some fresh parsley, which would actually go great right now with some Viognier.
Viognier. Yep, absolutely, Viognier. So I haven't had a chance to. Well, I said a few words about you, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewer, by all means, please.
So I'm Cristina Gonzales from Gonzales Wine Company. I'm based out of Portland, Oregon. And my specialty, I guess, my signature wines are big reds, such as Syrah, Malbec, Petit Verdot, and I do some aromatic whites. This year I did some Riesling, some Viognier, and we'll probably start to expand and experiment with some other whites in the future. But yeah, well, let's.
I love it. I love it. And you also are you're a board member of, how do you say it, Avoy?
I boy.
Avoy.
Yep.
What is, now can you let the viewer know what Avoy is about?
So, well, if you there's like a dicho or in Spanish, I voy is like I'm coming, I'm on my way. And so for our organization, this is a nonprofit that was started with the three co-founders, who's Miguel Lopez, Sofia Torres McKay, and Jesus Guillen, who passed away. In 2018. And so they started this organization just looking for ways to recognize our vineyard stewards, our vineyard workers. We have people that have worked in the vineyards their whole lives. They are rich in knowledge and wisdom of the terroir and the vines that they're growing of the land themselves, and they really wanted to do something to recognize those people who were working in the vineyard for such long periods of time, and to also let them know that there were other avenues of work outside of the vineyard, because a lot of times vineyarders, Latinos who are working in the vineyard pretty much think that's as far as they can go. And so the idea was to show them and to empower them through English immersion and more education. There are other avenues outside, such as production, winemaking, sales and marketing, working in the tasting room. The wine industry is just there's such an array of different positions, facets of the wine industry, and just to really give them the skills and the tools to advance their areas besides the vineyard. Because like I said, most of the time you see Latinos in the vineyard and mostly on the bottling line. Education, we believe, like that is the key to moving forward within the industry, and just moving forward in your own life by constantly, I'm learning every day, and I think all of us should be learning every day and learning new things. And so yeah, just kind of through English immersion and college courses, learning about enology, more about viticulture, like I said, sales and marketing. They actually got to take the WSET this year, which was really awesome, and I was super jealous because like I want to take the WSET.
That's so cool. That is amazing.
So yeah, just really a whole array of different courses, and we've had some really awesome feedback and just a lot of support from the Oregon industry, and it's just been a great thing to be a part of.
That's amazing. Thank you for that work. Thank you for being a part of that and offering that resource. It gives people an opportunity.
He's watching right now, so
What's that? Very cool.
now
Very cool.
he just graduated in the first cohort. So hi, yeah,
Well, congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important to have that offer that resource and to give them opportunity to do other things. There should be opportunity to be able to do other things, and you're providing that, help provide that, and that is awesome. Now, does it cost anything to join the organization?
It doesn't cost anything to particularly apply. If you're accepted into the program, there is a small like deposit fee that we ask for, and which they are then given back at the completion of the courses. But anybody who's doing, vineyard work, or this isn't just to, the vineyard in general, but people who want to advance their education, you that is open. If there's Latinos that are working in, production or just on the bottling line, I mean, it is open. We just actually opened our application window, and so applications are available in English and Spanish on the website. And we will be doing a canvassing campaign where we are going to be going out into the vineyards this summer to recruit new students for the program. But if you go to ivoyoregon.org, you can find the information on our organization there, along with job resources, job postings, and links to the application and to educational resources.
Awesome. That'd be great. I'll definitely post that on my end after this show is complete. And I love what you do. It's funny. I was just getting together because I'm gonna have Sam Fada on in a few weeks, and we were talking about you. And he's like, "Oh, Christy, yeah." And it just seemed like I saw the article. I haven't really gotten the chance to read it fully, but all of you that contributed to Oregon winemaking, and that is huge. All the Latino and Latinas as part of the Oregon winemaking industry. Tell us, like, how is it being in a group represented like that? Like, I mean, it seems like now there's a voice for the Hispanics in Oregon winemaking and winemaking in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually extremely humbling, and I'm honored to be part of what I guess I would call a grassroots movement, because I really haven't seen anything like it before in California per se, just right below us. So it's been really, and I think it's really needed. And it has been needed for a very long time. I mean, the percentage of, BIPOC people that own and run and produce wine is, I think it's less than 10%. And for Latinos, I believe it might only be 7% of wineries are owned by Latinos. So, this is something I think that's been a very, very long time coming. And like I said, just with, how kind of Ivoy was started, the wisdom and knowledge that people have had that don't have that formal education, but have had it through experience and years of doing this work. There's a lot of wisdom there that should be recognized. And I mean, I think what is really important to note is that there wouldn't be any wine if there weren't any vineyard workers. There's
Right.
our vineyard workers, our vineyard stewards are the ones who are out picking the grapes. So without them, there really is no wine. And very much so in the industry in the United States, like I would say all of our safe to say at least all of our agricultural work is done by Black and brown people. I mean, this started with the roots of slavery when this country was founded. And so I think it's really important that we recognize that and acknowledge the people that are doing the work. And thanks to Black Lives Matter movement, granted it started a long time ago, but we saw major momentum in this last year. I think that really catapulted our in particular our Oregon Latinx winemaking community, but also all of us who are not white, who are out there making wine and in the industry, and people are starting to recognize and acknowledge that. So it's been really very much very exciting and like I said, humbling. And I'm just really grateful to be a part of that and to see it so well received by the public. And I think it also wine is not just for not something that just the wealthy can afford. Wine is really for everybody. And I think it's always been seen as this very very uppity thing, like that's you can only certain people can afford. And that has really been one of my missions to make this accessible for everybody. And what I think we need to see, I mean, and this just helps the whole industry by opening it up to other economic levels and other skin colors, like that. It just not only enriches our industry of wine, but I mean, it's creating sales. I mean, it's creating sales for everybody. So why not?
Right.
So yeah, it's very exciting to see what's happening now in our industry, and I'm really. But
Well, that's awesome that you're a part of the movement. We need to keep the movement going. I think we had a lot of movement happening this past summer, and I think now voices are louder than ever. And I think it's creating an opportunity, and I think that's the main thing is. I cannot say it enough. Opportunity creates diversity. When we have opportunity, it's going to create more color out there in what we see, what we do. And so for you to be a part of that is huge. And you're setting tones for all of us, including myself. So thank you for doing that. Every one of you. It seems like the community is really building, and I don't just see it from Oregon winemakers. I see it from even California winemakers, Hispanic winemakers that I've talked to. They're willing to work together, building a community, trying to build a community to work alongside of one another and really build a large community to keep the foot on the gas. And that's the most important thing right now is to keep that momentum. It was quite interesting though. One of the ambassadors that I had on recently said he just doesn't have one of the things that's lacking for him, and even though he's in Napa, is he doesn't have the resources. They don't offer the proper resources, and that's tough. That's hard. But everybody, he's doing it as much as he can. He's doing small production and he's getting his grapes. He has people that he has in relations with sourcing his grapes. But to hear that he doesn't have the resources is just really rough. You think, are we still like stuck in these times? I mean, are we still that far back in these times where it's just.
well, I mean, I'll say the same for myself. Like I'm a small producer, and I'm still having issues, like that, because I am such a small producer, you know, trying to find a custom crush facility. Like when you're doing it all by yourself and you don't have that access, like let's per se, you don't work at a winery and you can't make your wine there. I mean, it's expensive. Like this is not something for the faint-hearted. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a labor of love, and it is a passion. Yeah, I mean, like I think what we're seeing now, like with some of the new organizations that have come out in the new year supporting BIPOC individuals who want to get into the industry, I see it, a lot of these scholarships and funding going to wine education, which is great. And I think that we need more diversity on the floor, in the front of the house, like in tasting rooms. Um, but also, like I want somebody that looks like me, to be doing the same thing. And I think so it would be great to see some of these new organizations like start to create scholarships for those of us who, like, and others who want to get into production and those kind of funds. Yeah, it's definitely not easy, and grapes are expensive. Grapes are.
Yeah, I can just imagine. I can just imagine. I got to tell you that, since you've been talking and since I've had this bottle opened, these aromas are absolutely just invigorating. I mean, it's strange, but what I'm getting to me is I'm actually getting some like white fruit, but I'm also getting almost some toasted marshmallow.
Yeah, I mean, so this wine is this was my one of my and so this Viognier comes from Mendocino County, and
Mm-hmm.
you know Mendocino County, Northern California. It's on the valley floor, and so it's hot. Like and with global warming, things are just getting hotter and hotter. So this wine was picked at about 25 bricks, so it's got some weight to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a heavier Viognier. I like to say this is a very voluptuous Viognier.
Absolutely, it's a Maryland. It's a Maryland
Totally,
all the way.
herbs and everything, like like this, like palate, it coats the palate. I think it's got the body of a Chardonnay. It still holds the aromatics, and I do like acid in my wine. I was
Mm-hmm.
lucky enough to retain acid, albeit being so ripe as it was picked. But like this is yeah, this is a very voluptuous Viognier, and with the pandemic, it wasn't supposed to go through ML, but I think it did, because I couldn't get into the winery in California to like touch it, because they weren't allowing people in who didn't work there. So I think it did go through some ML there, some malolactic fermentation, which is also like probably part of maybe of that toasted marshmallow
Yeah.
getting there. But all of the, I mean, there's none of these wines, none of my wines see any new oak. Um, yeah, I use all neutral barrels. So, obviously, a first fill barrel, you're going to get a lot more oak characteristics out of it. But, even sometimes with your third, fourth, and fifth fills, and, depending on where these barrels are coming from, they can still retain some of those oak characteristics. And so, yeah. But this wine in particular, I think it just, yeah, very full bodied Viognier. And yeah, luscious, and I'm actually quite happy with it.
Yeah, this thing it's saucy. Like it doesn't I usually say Viogniers are like ballerinas. This one is a hip hop dancer.
Yeah.
This thing it will seriously. It's got some meat. When you talked about meat and body, it's just I can smell it with all the fruits, and like I said, that hard toasted marshmallow is like it's really it's kind of like a welcoming thing. You kind of feel like when you smell that, it's like I always say when you go to Disneyland, one of the things they pump aromas when you come in, and you get this welcome feeling of this. I'm in Disneyland. This is the thing is when I smell this wine, it gives you that welcoming feeling of come on, welcome, drink me. I'm nice. I'm gonna make you get down tonight because this thing is not your normal Viognier. It is so nice. I love it. I love it. I mean, I could see it definitely holding up to some deeper, richer foods that normally lighter wines, like lighter Viogniers, would kind of fizzle out to. This one would have some meat. It would hold on to a bigger dish. Even heartier cheeses, or it's just, I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with the way it's turned out and how it's been aging. I think this is a very age-worthy white that's gonna still be kicking in, the next 3 to 4 years. So I'm excited to see how it's going to develop throughout the next couple of years.
So what was your inspiration to get into wine? What was one of the things that really just hit you that said, I got to do this. I want to be a part of this.
It started in South America. I was in Argentina. I was a backpacker, and originally I went down to South America to study Spanish because that's what I majored in college. I'm from a Mexican American, but I didn't learn Spanish at home. And so it was something that was really important for me to learn and something that I felt that I was missing. And the best way to learn another language is, you know, is through language immersion. And so Ecuador was actually the cheapest place for me to go and study abroad. And so that's where I ended up. Through my travels after school, after my semester was done, that I landed in Chile and doing volunteer work. And then I would have to go renew my tourist visa. And so the closest place to do that was actually to just go wine tasting in Mendoza. And so we would just, when we needed to renew our tourist visa, we would go over there and just do some wine tasting. And that's how it really happened. I mean, I was living in Chile and was drinking box wine. And I mean, Chile and Argentina, they were way ahead of the curve like a long time ago, like 20 years ago, like with alternative packaging. And so yeah, that's how it started. And then when I would go tasting in Mendoza, it was really like just the whole it was like just the combination of everything of Argentina's known for their grass-fed wonderful red meats. And so it was going to a parrilla and walking up to the counter, picking my cut of meat and going back to my table. And it was probably just like it was the house Malbec that was like by the glass. And it was really it was all of it together of the food and the smells and the wine itself, and that pairing of just the red meat with red wine. And seeing families and friends and people around just enjoying a meal with wine on the table.
Everybody, that reminded me of the it reminded me of the fold. I love that. Oh, that was great. Everybody, oh, it reminded me of that Folgers commercial where the kid is in the background and the mom's on that virtual meeting, and she
Yeah.
keeps on moving like that. The kid's in the back. I love it. That is so rad. I love it. I love it. That reminds me. How old is your kid? How old is your kiddo?
He's 7. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I can't imagine what my kid would be like at 7. He's only 3, and he's a handful. He is a handful.
He's
Um,
cracker all right. He's like his mother. And dry mom.
so did being in the being there, did it give you inspiration for this is how I want my wines to be like, not as far as the blueprint, but you want them to attract, like you were saying, it was just the house wine and it went with, I got to pick out my meat and stuff like that. Was that what your blueprint, your whole MO was? I want a wine that I could give to somebody and they could just go grab whatever their dish is and just pair it with that, with my wine.
Yeah, I mean, I have always been drawn more to old world style wines, and part of the things that I'm passionate about is food and wine, and it's for me a lot of it is that combination. So I really wanted to through my experiences through traveling, I've just seen like wine is something common on the table that's going to go with your meal, and we see that a lot in European countries as well, where this is something to be hidden, something in place like at at the table, and I just really wanted my wines to be food friendly. Um, so it's something that can be enjoyed, but also with a meal. I mean, a lot of what I make is stuff that I like to drink, and I like to drink. When I'm eating, I like to enjoy a glass of wine with a meal, or with some charcuterie. And so it was always very, very important to me to make them very food friendly and also economically accessible for everybody to be able to go and buy a bottle. So yeah, that was always kind of like the MO, was something that was food friendly, which is why I retain acid in my wines. And yeah, I mean, and also I guess like the neutral oak barrels, because I don't use new oak. Um, it's all neutral oak because I really do want to showcase the grape. I think oak is something that can really enhance a wine, but sometimes it can also overpower a wine, and
Right.
that's just not that's not really what I'm going for. So yeah, with by having the neutral oak barrels, it really does. It's really able to showcase the fruit itself and really give my customers and wine drinkers just a good taste of what the grape is really representing.
Yeah, and that's an important thing. I love what you said because you really want to showcase the grape and not the oak.
Right.
And that is what's that?
One of your guests just asked what I was drinking, and I'm drinking my 2018 Malbec.
2018 Malbec.
Mm-hmm.
Love me the Malbec. Now, where do you get your Malbec from? Where is the Malbec coming from?
So I've sourced Malbec from both California and in Oregon. The one that I'm drinking right now this is my 2018 vintage. And Cecchini Family Vineyard, which is down in Contra Costa County. And so that's like super East Bay when you're getting close to Sacramento, down in the valley there. But these were 25-year-old vines. It is a organic vineyard. And 25-year-old Malbec vines, it's kind of hard to find, especially in California. And so I got really, really lucky, and yeah, so I sourced Malbec from them for a couple of years. Previous to that, Mendocino County. And then in Oregon, I've gotten my Malbec from Southern Oregon, a particular vineyard, Gold Vineyard, which is located in Talent, Oregon, which is just north of Ashland.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that you're getting your grapes from Mendocino too. Usually, when you think of like California wines, a lot of times you don't hear Mendocino as a dominant area of getting grapes, sourcing grapes. It's always the surrounding areas like Napa, Sonoma, and so forth, Livermore, but you don't hear Mendocino and play that much, which is great because it gives the wine drinker, it gives the consumer a whole new degree of tasting something new, and open their eyes and their palates to a new region that doesn't get a lot of clout, and I like that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my winemaking and a lot of where I source grapes is all very price driven. Like we were talking about access to funding, and I'm self financed, and I have great parents who support me, who have helped me. They're my investors. They're on the board of directors of Gonzales Wine Company.
That's awesome.
And so everything has been self financed. So it really is. I'm a very budget conscious winemaker, and so I've been really lucky to work with growers who are all about supporting the little woman, not just the little guy, but the little woman too, because I'm only 5 feet tall. But so I've been very, very lucky in that aspect. But you know, so I really like I couldn't afford to buy grapes from Sonoma or Napa. Mendocino was going to be the best option for me. Um, and at the time, and then you know when I found these grapes in Contra Costa County, and you know here in Oregon, it's a different story. I'm working with the same grower that I made my second vintage of Malbec ever. Um, Down there, and you know like prices have definitely gone up through the years, but I'm lucky enough, like I said, to work with a grower who supports small producers like myself.
That it's great that I always believe where there's a will, there's a way. If you find you could find a, a route to get to. You could always find an alternative to get to. If you don't have this, you could always go with this. And just because you're not getting your grapes from Napa or Sonoma, this wine is awesome. This wine is delicious. So it really showcases what you put into the bottle, your passion and your love for it, but it also highlights, hey, this region, the one that is like this underdog that really doesn't get a lot of recognition is should be on the map louder and broader than they have been, and that's great. It's a great thing. What you're doing is, again, like I said, not able to do the ordinary, but giving you something extraordinary. You're taking it out of the ordinary and you're making it extraordinary, and that is awesome. I love that.
Much that like seriously puts a huge smile on my face to hear you say that. So I
That's great. I love it. I love it. And that's what I'm saying is, when I think that is just like you sharing your story, and you're telling everybody about what you've gone through. It's important. I think it's important and valuable to share these stories. Every one of the ambassadors that I sit with and share the screen with, it's like you're all connected because you're sharing the same type of struggles, but the same type of passions and visions that you want to create. You want to do something good for the consumer because you find that it is needed. You want to do something because you love doing it. It's not just, yeah, we're in it. If we're doing something, we do want to make a financial bit about it, but it's also about what we love to do. And when you dig into the products, when you dig into your wine, it just shows a completely different realm than something that you normally would see because you know the story behind it. I always say when you see a label on the shelf, you don't really you get to know it by maybe turning if there's a little story on the back of the label, but unless you actually get to see the person that is behind the bottle, it actually brings it that much more in depth. You get much more of an appreciation for that bottle, and it's just awesome. I like I said, just hearing your story is pretty amazing. I just think of you backpacking and learning Spanish and doing all this stuff. I mean, that's something that I feel like I wish that when I was younger, I was able to do that. My dad was fluent in Spanish, and even when my uncle went back to Spain, they were both in the Air Force. My dad and my uncle were both in the Air Force. And when my uncle went back to Spain, he found our family crest. And I was like, too bad we weren't never taught Spanish. I wish we were taught Spanish. I wish I would be fluent in Spanish.
Yep.
And my mom is fluent in Spanish, but we never, it was never just settled in. And so hearing your story about, hey, I just got to be immersive and get involved and be a part of the environment, that's cool. I love that.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it I think comes down to being able to be vulnerable, being able to be vulnerable to share your story. And it was really the words of a mentor of mine here, Bertoni from Abbey Creek Wines. He's, I guess, considered Oregon's, well, he is considered Oregon's first Black winemaker. And a couple years ago, when I was just recently divorced. He reached out and bought like a couple cases of my wine, and said, I found you on Instagram and wanted to support me. And so when I went to go drop off his wine at his tasting room, can you go do that somewhere else, please? And he sat me down, and he goes, so tell me about you, like, what's your story? Who are you? And it was the first time that anybody in the wine industry had not only I felt had taken me seriously as a winemaker, but that also just like wanted to know about me and where I came from, like how I got into wine. And he really helped to guide me to where I am today. He said, use your voice and tell your story, because people actually want to know about it.
Right.
They want to know you. And I think that's what makes Abbey Creek so special, is that Bertoni does share his story of where he's come from, and his own experiences within the wine industry. And so it was really because of him that I really was able to become comfortable enough to start talking about starting, and really how my company has developed. And I will say, I'm quite grateful, as terrible and as horrible as it was probably the best thing that's happened to me, because it really motivated me to take myself serious, to believe in myself, and to believe that I could succeed, and that I could hang with the big kids. And I think, like I said, sharing my story and being vulnerable has put me now in the place where I am. So it is through those struggles, and again, sharing your truth, using your voice, paying it forward, that I really think people are able to connect with, and that motivates and inspires others to get involved, and to support each other, to create that community.
Absolutely. And you even since we've gotten connected with each other, you've been a big support for me and offering me resources here and there. And that's something that, again, you don't find that everywhere, where somebody actually will reach out to you and just spontaneously, hey, I got this resource here. Check this out. I mean, again, I always feel like I always say it. I don't think I've ever met just an acquaintance on here. I feel like I've met a lot of friends, some really true friends, really supportive friends. And it's great because, I think before the pandemic, I think we were going about our everyday lives and just going. And I think one of the true blessings that came out of the pandemic was a way to reconnect with people.
Yeah.
And it's been such an amazing thing to connect with so many wonderful people like yourself, and to get support. It's wonderful. So I could see, where he actually said, "Oh, I want to know more about you, because you have so much to offer. Your story is so valuable to help the industry thrive and grow. It's important."
Well,
so yeah, absolutely. And I can't say enough about your wines. I definitely want to try your Malbec, and I wanted you to tell us the whole story behind the 8 ball. Can you tell us the whole story behind the 8 ball?
I sure can. I mean, I told you a little bit about my lucky number 8, and how I do love octopuses too, because of the 8 tentacles. But so my logo came from the magic 8 ball. So I was born October 8th also. And so, and within October, the astrological sign is Libras. The Libras are, either great decision makers or they're horrible decision makers, and I am a decision maker. So when I was growing up, and I grew up in the 80s, and I and I guess more so in the 90s when I was in my adolescence, that I had to use the magic 8 ball to make my so it was turning it over and seeing what was I going to wear today? Was this a really good decision that I made? Um, um, yeah, that's where the inspiration came. And when I was looking for a logo for my brand, it just all kind of came together of the magic 8 ball, and then the typewriter G for my last name looks like an eight. And so it all just kind of fell into place. And some people, they either love it or they hate it, but if anything, like it is something that you are going to recognize when you see it on a shelf. And yeah, I am a child of the 90s. And
when you were telling that story and you were talking about the Magic 8 Ball, I was one of my favorite shows, hands down, and I could watch the show over and over again. Yeah, I love that. See, and that with that totally reminds me of is one of my favorite shows of the '90s is Friends.
oh my,
Friends, when Ross was actually trying to make a decision
mhm.
and he got his magic 8 ball out. And when you're telling that story, I can picture Ross shaking the magic 8 ball and asking the magic 8 ball what to do. But that's such a cool story. I love stories like that. It's just real. It's homey. It's raw. I love it. It's a way to connect. I mean, it's so cool that, like I said, when people look at labels and then they hear the story behind the label, it actually makes it more relatable,
Uh-huh.
and that's what makes it so fun. I love that story. So now I know we're getting. I'm looking at our time, and time goes by so fast. Time goes by too fast when you're having fun. But I just got to say thank you so much, um, Christina, for your time and just the support that you've given me in just the last few weeks when we got connected and everything, and we started talking about the show and everything that you offered and the resources. It's just, like I said, I consider you a really good friend, a true friend, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your time and what you brought here on Breaking Bread, where talking, sharing your story, and it's just really special. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Corey. I'm just I'm thrilled to be here, and the same to have met you. And thank you for reaching out to me to be on the podcast. This is really fun.
Absolutely, and I can't say enough about your wines. I'm excited. Like, I want to like savor it because I've been drinking it. It goes down. The one thing that is so amazing about this bottle too is even though it feels fuller, it goes down so easy. It becomes dangerous. Where like I'm looking. Let me see. So okay, so your average wine could be range about 13.5. This one right here is 14.3. So it is,
It's been,
when you talk about, yeah,
like I said,
voluptuous.
the voluptuous lady. She's got the curves and she's got the hips there, and yeah,
Uh, I, it's doing its hip dance.
yep,
I mean, this thing is a monster. And when
definitely.
I look now that I see how high the volume on that is going to be. I can't wait to try that with some food too. It's going to be really nice. Um, but I always like to give my last question. Like, I always like to give the big $5,000 question to everybody. See what they have to say. But if you want to offer advice to anyone, whether they're beginning or in the middle or near the end and they're at their crossroads, of doing what they want to do, trying to do what they want to do in the industry, what kind of advice would you give them?
To not be afraid to take risks and to not be afraid to fail and get to make your own space at the table. I think I've gone through when I reflect on my career and what I have learned. I think maybe I'd be in a different place had I had spoken up, had I had asked, those questions, or decided to take that leap that I didn't think I was ready for, because I think for much of my career I've doubted my own abilities as a winemaker, and as somebody whose brand can stand with the bigger name wines. And I think believing in yourself and having the confidence, and that, again, that vulnerability to ask questions, to fail, and to take risks, it's only going to lead you up and take you further within your career, and in your life, and to constantly just, I mean, my major mantra is just keep going, keep on moving forward, because that's the only way to go.
Great words, great words. And I love your kids' heads popping in and out. That is the thing. I love
The whole time, and like I was like, cool, he's gonna stay outside, he'll be outside playing, like for us, and then like immediately like
it is great. I'll see like one eye like peep through the side of the screen, then I'll see his hair or whatever. It's so cool. I love it. No, thank you so much, Cristina, for everything. We got to keep in touch. You got to keep in touch, especially since we're so close.
Yeah, I mean,
hop, skip, and jump.
You're so close to me right there. Just
yeah.
Please do, and and otherwise, and come into Republica too. Where I'm the wine director there, and we focus on BIPOC and women producers, Mexican and Mexican American wines. So it's base, and we have great food there, and you can get all my wines there.
Awesome! I am there. I am there. Thank you so much. And where can we find your wines?
Well, you can always find them on the web, on my online store at gonzaleswinecompany.com. I have a wine club too. People are interested in receiving my wines on a regular basis. Locally, you can get them at New Seasons on Hawthorne and at the Arbor Lodge, and hopefully to a couple more locations. Barber World Foods, if you're in Southwest Portland. Pairings Wine Shop in Northeast, and also at Vino Veritas in Southeast Portland.
Awesome. We'll definitely look into that. If you can shoot me any of that information so I can post that on this. So I want to make sure that I get it all out there for the viewers. So if they're looking for it, they can get it from you. A good way to support our local businesses, women-owned businesses. We got to do it. We got to support Cristina and her endeavors. Thank you so much again for your time, and we got to do this again. Until next time, we got to do a little cheers.
Yes. All right.
Cheers. Salute. All right.
All right. Take care, Corey.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Tell your son bye for me.
Bye, don't call again.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. What a great conversation with Miss Cristina Gonzales from Gonzales Wine Company here in Oregon. She will leave me more information on where you can get her wines. You could also go to gonzaleswinecompany.com and get them direct. Again, thank you all for joining us, for sharing your time. And I think there's been another message here with all the ambassadors that I shared the screen with. I have one more to go. But I think there's a main message that we are seeing, and that is the message of support. We need to support these small family businesses. They are trying to do what they can, and they need your support. People like Leah, like Cristina, are out there. These are women winemakers that are doing their thing. Let's go out there and support them. We need to support them. And also Wes. Wes, brought up some really good information about vegan wines and how we can support the vegan wine movement and the vegan wine culture. It's important. We all think that vegan wines are, if it's vegan, it can't be that great. No, that's misinformation. You got to go to the right resource, get the right information, get the correct information, the honest information. Because honest information that you get from an actual ambassador for wines is going to give you something positive. They're never going to give you something negative. I'll tell you that straightforward. A real wine ambassador is going to give you something honest and positive. So don't forget, next time you go to your local retailers, if you could ask for any one of these wines, they can't get it. How can they get it? Where they can get it? And I'll be back in just a few moments with my last number four out of 4 ambassadors in just a few moments. But until that time, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay well, and cheers. Book.